President Biden was set to meet with congressional leaders this morning on the debt ceiling, but those talks have been postponed. Discussions among White House staff and congressional aides are expected to continue throughout the weekend, though. CBS News reporter Sarah Ewall-Wice is following this story from Washington for us. So, Sarah, what's behind the delay? Why are they doing this?
You know, we saw the president meeting with congressional leaders at the White House earlier this week, but that meeting really did not signal any progress. However, there has been that, as you mentioned, ongoing staff level meetings. So this delay signals progress is being made there. A source familiar signal that's actually, quote, positive development. In a letter to Democratic colleagues this morning, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said the White House staff, along with aides from all four congressional leaders' offices, will continue to meet a, quote, constructive way forward. It's expected that the president and congressional leaders will meet again in person early next week, but the exact timing on that has not been set. The president is actually slated to head to Japan later in the week. And even if a deal is reached, this would have to get through a divided Congress. So time is still of the essence to get a deal done. And then it has a long way to go, even if an announcement is made.
So June 1st has been mentioned as the possible date for the U.S. Default, the possibility of a default. But the date depends on tax revenue. When will Americans know if that date holds?
You know, there is so much uncertainty around this because it really depends on the money coming in on a daily basis. Neither Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen or other analysis has been updated over the past few days. The Congressional Budget Office said it could happen in early June, so they might have some updates soon, as would the banks. But this is really being looked at, like I said, as the money comes in. Tax receipts have been down. That's been in part due to multiple states being granted tax filing extensions ahead of that April filing deadline, which caused some of the analysis to move up the potential so-called X date. But the Treasury has been taking extraordinary measures since January to keep the U.S. below that debt ceiling. Money could run out in less than 3 weeks, or we could see a situation where money slowly trickling in and is enough to get us through August. That is why multiple parties here, from administration officials to economists to business leaders, have all been urging lawmakers not to wait on this situation.
And then in an interview with Bloomberg, Janet Yellen says that there's no satisfactory solution that could be good for the U.S. other than Congress raising the debt ceiling, and is warning of a catastrophe, of course. If the Treasury and the Fed, are they prepared to step in if a deal is not reached before the U.S. defaults?
In short, both the Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen and the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell have said, no, there's not, other than Congress acting to raise the debt ceiling. There's no other option there. In that same interview, the Treasury Secretary was asked about whether the Treasury would still make payments on securities, but she really did push back on that suggestion being the path forward should the U.S. hit the point where there's no money left. Another idea that's come up is this idea of using the 14th Amendment, the president invoking the 14th Amendment, which states the validity of the public debt shall, quote, not be questioned. But even that being used by the Biden administration as a reason to keep paying the bills, even if you hit the debt limit, is really uncertain, and it would definitely end up in the legal system. So there's this idea that they could do that to pay the bills, but with that uncertainty, it would not protect from the economic fallout that many investors and business owners and leaders around the country are already dealing with and concerned about. The economy would still be impacted even if the president invokes the 14th Amendment, because that would go through a whole new process of uncertainty.
Yeah, none of it's good. All of it's ugly. Sarah, thank you very much.
Thank you.